أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء وسيد المرسلين حبيب إله العالمين أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد
وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. Before I jump into the verses, one thing came to mind yesterday. I read a couple of passages from the Bible. And if you remember, one of the first passages I read to you was about the story of Zakaria. If you remember at the end how the passage in the Bible kind of pointed a finger and really insulted Zakaria, saying that the reason we're going to make you silent for these 3 days, it's not a sign like the Quran says. It's not a blessing as the Quran says, but rather it says it's because you doubted, right? Now to knock you down, to kind of give you a slap across the face because you were disobedient or you doubted, we're going to inflict this punishment on you. A lot of times the Bible tends to do that. It knocks the prophets down. It came to mind that one of the lessons we can get from that, right, seeing how the truth of the Quran has devolved into these falsehoods about the prophets. Right? Let's make sure that our practices surrounding the commemoration of Karbala don't devolve the same way. Right? Again, we have a very sacred story about very sacred people, infallible people, very righteous people, brave people, right? Extremely courageous people. We don't want to, for the sake of, purely getting up our emotions without being also rooted in the facts and in what actually happened. Just for the sake of emotions, let's not have the same sort of tendency that the Bani Israel had, and bring the personality of the Imam down, or the Ahlul Bayt down, and make them seem less than who they were. Right? There's a tendency, because of course we know it's good to cry, we're encouraged to cry. There's a tendency to kind of make that the primary goal, and for the sake of that goal, even sacrifice the personality of the Imam and make him seem like kind of a weak person sometimes. That he's begging, or he's to make us cry a little bit more, to make him seem like he's lowering himself. Like, just imagine a courageous person like Imam Hussein begging. It's beneath him to go and beg someone for water, even to demand it, to prove that they're wrong, to show they're wrong. That's him. He's courageous. Okay, so let's not lower his personality, otherwise we'll fall into the same trap that the Bani Israel faced, and the same trap into which they also became ensnared. The next verse, the verses we're talking about right now, this is the third episode in the continuation of the story of Isa alayhi salam. We're looking at what his mission was. As an adult, he spoke to the people of the Jewish people, and he had these various messages. So we want to just go through the verses in the Quran that tell us what those messages were. There are not many of them. There are about 6 or 7 verses that encapsulate Jesus' message to his people. We've been through about 4 of them so far, so we'll go through another 3 of them today, inshallah. In 546, Surah Al-Ma'idah, verse number 46, he says, وَقَفَّيْنَا عَلَى, it's Allah saying, وَقَفَّيْنَا عَلَى آثَارِهِمْ بِعِيسَى بْنِ مَرْيَمَ مُصَدِّقًا لِمَا بَيْنَ يَدَيْهِ مِنَ التَّوْرَاةِ وَآتَيْنَاهُ الْإِنْجِيلَ فِيهِ هُدًى وَنُورٌ وَمُصَدِّقًا لِمَا بَيْنَ يَدَيْهِ مِنَ التَّوْرَاةِ وَهُدًى وَمَوْعِظَةً لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. And we sent Jesus, son of Mary, to follow in their footsteps. There meaning the prophets. The other prophets were mentioned before this verse. To follow in their footsteps, confirming the Torah which came before him. And we gave him the Evangel containing guidance and light, confirming the Torah which came before it, and as guidance and admonishment for the God-fearing. Okay, you'll notice a little bit of a repetition in this verse. Let's look at a couple of things in the verse. One is this place where he says, we gave him the Evangel. Now, in the Quran, it never talks about exactly how the Injil was revealed to Isa alayhi salam. With respect to the Torah of Moses, it's very explicit to tell us that it was on these tablets. I mentioned those tablets yesterday. Right? Written on stone, carved in stone, and handed to him in the form of a tablet like that. Even with the Qur'an, we have explicit mention of how it was revealed. Right? Through tanzeel and tanazzul, the fact that it was all sent down on the night of Qadr, right? During this first revelation, and then how it was again revealed to the Prophet piecemeal over the course of his 23 years as a Prophet. There's some indication, ahadith, that the Prophet was actually, when he was told, Iqra bismi rabbika alladhi khalaq, when he was told the first 5 ayahs, that he actually was given something, whether it was paper or what it was written on, but he was actually given something by Gabriel, and he was saying read. And he was giving him a piece of paper with writing and saying, read. Right, so even there, we have an indication of what was sent to him, what the Qur'an was. With the Injil, we don't have anything like that. So it's not clear, from the verses of the Qur'an, the explicit verses of the Qur'an, it's not clear what form the Injil took on. Was it simply kind of put into the mind of Isa a.s. and then he dictated it to people, like our Prophet did? Or was some actual physical book given to him? We don't know. What we do know, though, is that it was a book. It was an independent book that was given to him. Right here at 546, if you look at the verse before 546, and also the one after it, it's in the context of the revelation of the various books. The verses before this talk about how the Torah was sent down in these tablets. The one after it tells how the Qur'an was revealed. Right, so the context, what's before and what's after, the fact that this Injil, the revelation of the Injil is between these two, it shows us that this was also an actual book that was given to him. Right? What form it took on, we don't know exactly. One thing you notice here is there's a little bit of repetition that's come in this verse. We have, first of all, this confirming the Torah which came before him. That's an adjective that's used both to describe Isa a.s. and also to describe the Injil itself, confirming the Torah which came before it. Right, so both Isa a.s., independent of the Injil, like he as a personality, all of his preachings are going to confirm Moses, and then confirm the Torah that came before him. The book itself is also going to confirm. Right, so it's like double emphasis that he, like 100%, his entire message is a confirmation of Moses' law. Okay, nothing different. Another interesting thing here is this word guidance. Right, guidance has come twice here. He says, first of all, that Isa a.s., when he came, he brought guidance and light. Right, light doesn't mean physical light. When the Quran talks about light, it's talking about, it's almost like a metaphor. Right? The way, when you have a light bulb, it illuminates other things, it makes things clear. And if you turn the light, if you dim the lights, you can't really make out things, everything is kind of hazy, you can't really differentiate things. When you brighten the light, then it becomes very clear. Right? So that same kind of analogy is brought into guidance. Guidance itself, when Allah teaches us stuff, knowledge itself is light in that way. Right? When you're ignorant, things are very confusing. You can't really tell what's true, what's false. Everything kind of looks the same. Right? It's like grayness over everything. But when you learn something, we have these images of a light bulb goes off in your head. Right? Somebody says the right thing, you read the right thing, and all of a sudden, now I get it. Like somebody was really confused. Now I understand what you've been saying all this time. Right? That's light. Right? That's why the image of light is used. Right? So the evangel that Isa a.s. brought, it had that. It was guidance and it was a source of light to illuminate them and make them illuminated people.